In the final moments of Jesus' life, as recorded in Mark chapter 15, verse 33 to 39, his journey to the cross had been agonizing. The Roman officer, stationed before him, witnessed how he breathed his last. Before we move on, please support us by liking the video, subscribing to our channel, and hitting the bell icon for notifications. This generous act of yours will give us more power and encouragement. Thank you. Let's delve back into learning more about the soldier who saw the last minutes of Jesus on the cross. Struck by what he saw, he uttered, "This man truly was the Son of God." Mark chapter 15, verse 39 NLT. He had been abandoned, ridiculed, humiliated, and tortured. Now, as he hangs on the cross, Jesus breathes his final breath. Mark chapter 15, verse 33 describes this somber moment. At noon, darkness came over the whole land until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The weight of his suffering enveloped the world in a shadow of profound grief. It was 12 o'clock in the afternoon, the time when the sun is at its zenith. Yet, an otherworldly darkness fell upon the land, lasting until the 9th hour, or 3 o'clock. This eerie shadow came when the sun should have been shining the brightest, because the moon was now full. An eclipse was impossible. After all, a full moon can't pass between the earth and the sun. This darkness was a direct act of God's intervention. Phlegon of Tralles, a freedman of Emperor Hadrian, offers a vivid account of this miraculous event. In his records of the year AD, Eusebius extensively quotes Phlegon regarding a remarkable event during the 4th year of the 202nd Olympiad. According to Phlegon, an unprecedented eclipse of the sun darkened the sky at the 6th hour, transforming day into night and revealing stars in the heavens. Concurrently, a powerful earthquake struck Bithynia, causing widespread destruction, including the toppling of many houses in Nicaea. This extraordinary occurrence left a profound impact on the region. Phlegon describes the darkness as an eclipse, which made sense given the rudimentary astronomy knowledge of the time. He also notes an accompanying earthquake. This closely aligns Phlegon's account with the sacred narrative. Saint Cyprian adds, "The sun was constrained to withdraw his rays and close his eyes that he might not be compelled to look upon this crime of the Jews." Similarly, Saint Chrysostom says, "The creature could not bear the wrong done to its creator. Therefore, the sun withdrew his rays that he might not behold the deeds of the wicked." Mark chapter 15, verse 34 states, "And at the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani," which is being interpreted, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?" Here, St. Mark uses the Aramaic form, while St. Matthew refers to the original Hebrew. This phrase could also be rendered as, "Why didst thou forsake me?" Mark chapter 15, verse 35 states, "And some of them that stood by when they heard it said, Behold, he calleth Elias." Despite the mysterious darkness, those who lingered around the cross are mentioned in this verse. The darkness would certainly have heightened the dreadfulness of the situation. It was from that profound darkness that the voice of Jesus emerged. Given that Elijah was believed to have a special role in relation to the Messiah, it's not surprising that some bystanders thought Jesus was calling for Elijah. Mark chapter 15, verse 36 describes this moment. "And one ran and filled a sponge full of vinegar and put it on a reed and gave it to him to drink, saying, Let alone, let us see whether Elias will come to take him down." They hoped Elijah would appear to rescue Jesus from the cross. With a resounding cry, Jesus breathed his last. Immediately, something extraordinary happened. The veil of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. This temple had two veils, one before the holy place and another before the Holy of Holies. The holy place was like the nave of our churches, where the priest would always be present. The Holy of Holies, on the other hand, was akin to the chancel choir, the most sacred part of the temple. This inner sanctum was kept closed at all times, with only the high priest allowed to enter once a year on the Day of Atonement. The veil torn at our Lord's death was the one that covered the Holy of Holies. On the evening of the day of preparation, at the hour of evening prayer, exactly the time of Jesus' death, it was the priest's duty to enter the holy place. Positioned between the two veils, he would roll back the outer veil, revealing the sacred inner space to those in the outer court. At that moment, to their astonishment, they witnessed the inner veil being torn from top to bottom. Josephus describes these veils as massive curtains, richly adorned with gold and purple embroidery. The tearing of the veil signified two profound changes. Firstly, that Christ had revealed the fullness of the dispensation with its rites and ceremonies, breaking down the barrier between Jews and Gentiles, so that all could draw near through Christ's sacrifice. Secondly, it symbolized that the way to heaven was now open through the death of our Lord. When thou hadst overcome the sharpness of death, thou didst open the kingdom of heaven to all believers. This veil symbolized that heaven was closed to everyone until Christ's death tore it apart and opened the way. Mark chapter 15, verse 9 records this moment. And when the centurion, which stood over against him, saw that he so cried out and gave up the ghost, he said, "Truly, this man was the Son of God." In the original text, the phrase "so cried out" is not found in the most authoritative sources. As a centurion, his duty was to oversee the execution and ensure it was carried out. Standing near the cross, he witnessed something in the way Jesus faced death that was unlike anything he had ever seen before. It moved him to spontaneously declare, "Truly, this man was the Son of God." Throughout those strange hours, the centurion had observed Jesus closely. He witnessed the meekness and dignity with which Jesus endured his suffering. From time to time, he heard words spoken by Jesus that deeply resonated with the faith and reverence of Christians. And then, at last, he heard the piercing cry, so startling, so unexpected, that came just before Jesus gave up his spirit. This profound moment led him to one inescapable conclusion, that Jesus was indeed the Son of God. In just a few verses, Mark captures an incredible depth of meaning. There's much to discuss about the unusual events that transpired, but today we focus on the Roman officer who was moved by Jesus even after his death. Jesus left a profound impact on those near him. The thief on the cross had responded to Jesus in a unique way, and now the soldier overseeing the crucifixion declares that Jesus is the Son of God. At the beginning of his ministry, Jesus had kept his true identity hidden. Now it was clear for all to see. As a commander, a centurion was in charge of the soldiers who mistreated Jesus. Did he join in their taunting and the brutal crowning with thorns? It's possible, but perhaps his respectability kept him from such cruelty. Perhaps he was the one who assigned Simon of Cyrene the task of carrying Jesus' cross. When they reached Golgotha, the place of the crucifixion, The soldiers drove the nails through Jesus' wrists and lifted him up on the cross. To him, it was just another day at the office. His role was to oversee the execution of criminals, but somewhere along the way, Jesus stopped seeming like just another common offender. Maybe it was the way Jesus confronted the world's powers, never begging for his life. Perhaps it was Jesus' words of love from the cross that touched him. Maybe it was the eerie darkness that covered the land, or the tearing of the veil in the temple. It's also possible that Jesus had shared profound truths with this officer during their journey. Something stirred deep within this man's soul as he gazed at Jesus' lifeless body. I imagine him looking up at the cross, mouth agape, trying to put his thoughts into words. This man truly was the Son of God. What a declaration for a Roman officer to make. If any of the religious leaders had overheard him, they would have lost their minds. Just the day before, he had been working with Rome to execute Jesus for the very claim of being God's Son that he's now acknowledging. Recognizing Jesus as the Son of God while he is alive is one thing. Peter acknowledges Jesus as the Messiah in Mark chapter 8, verse 29 to 30. And he saith unto them, But whom say ye that I am? And Peter answereth and saith unto him, Thou art the Christ. And he charged them that they should tell no man of him. It's one thing to recognize Jesus as the Son of God after the resurrection, when many came to faith, but to see him as the Son of God while he is dead and all hope seems lost. This Roman officer might be the only one who did that. So what happened to him? We don't really know, but I imagine he had a lot on his mind as the news spread that Jesus was still alive. Perhaps he came to understand the gravity of his crimes against Jesus. What we do know is that it wasn't too late for him. As Jesus hung on the cross, he was paying the price for this officer's sins, paving the way for him to be reconciled with his Father. As Stuart Townend beautifully expresses in his hymn, how deep the Father's love for us. Behold, the man upon a cross, my sin upon his shoulders. Ashamed, I hear my mocking voice call out among the scoffers. We must understand that Jesus died for you. Don't turn away from him. Once you come to know him, once you've heard the gospel and turned away, you can never be the same. Just like the rich young ruler who, when he rejected Christ, went away grieved and emotionally disturbed. Rejecting the claims of Christ is a very serious thing. For many of you, today will be a pivotal hour of decision. Will you receive him? Thank you for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Please support us by liking the video, subscribing to our channel, and hitting the bell icon for notifications. Your encouragement helps us create more videos for you. Here are some other videos you might find interesting. May God bless you.